Greetings and salutations. As we continue to navigate these uncertain times, we can always rely on one great constant, one bedrock to hold on to as chaos climbs the ladder. And that, my friends, is greed and corruption. Yes, you heard me clearly. I said greed and corruption. Because no matter what humanity is facing, war, famine, pandemic, trying to see the new Christopher Nolan film without having to go to a theater, greed and corruption never ever seem to wane in their influence over our societies. And 2020, yes, the year that has given us a global pandemic, Trump versus Biden, and the loss of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, not even 2020 is immune to greed and corruption. As this week, Jason Leopold and a bevy of journalists and researchers working at BuzzFeed and the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, along with more than 100 news organizations in 88 countries, have revealed that 5 global banks, JP Morgan, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Deutsche Bank, and Bank of New York Mellon, have put greed and corruption over decency and public good. Color me shocked. According to BuzzFeed, a treasure trove of secret U.S. government documents revealed that these giants of Western banking moved trillions in dollars in suspicious transactions, enriching themselves and their shareholders while facilitating the work of terrorists, kleptocrats, and drug kingpins. And that the U.S. government, despite having the power to do something, does nothing to stop this. The secret files are made up of suspicious activity reports, or SARs for short, that were filed with the U.S. Department of Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network between the years 1999 and 2017. And that these SARs reports document more than $2 trillion worth of dubious and possibly criminal transactions completely facilitated by these major lenders and other financial institutions. As Rachel Woolley, the director of financial crime at regulatory consultancy Fenergo, told CNBC, these files expose a systemic failure across the entire financial system and industry. But yet, if you or I cash a bad check, overdraft our account, or miss a payment, these same banks will be oh so quick to find you and me and remind us to abide by their financial rules or else face grave penalties. That, my friends, is hypocrisy 101, and you can take that straight to the bank as we start watching the Hawks.
If you want to know what's going on in your city, in your streets, you want to rise above the sheep, let me show you what you seek. See the uprisings, opioids, deep state on steroids, drone strikes, mass graves, war hawks and debt slaves, systemic deceptions manipulate your mind, but the truth is our weapon, so open up your eyes.
Welcome everyone to Watching the Hawks. I am Tyrell Ventura.
And I'm Amisha Croft.
Amisha, I'm sorry, I'm a little angry today because at the end, all we hear day in and day out is trust our institutions, trust us, we know what's good for you, do not question authority, do not question the bankers, do not question any of that, yet over and over again, from the mortgage scandal to LIBOR that basically said all of our credit industry was a complete fraud. Now to this, how can we trust them?
Well, I think that come 2020, what we've seen is that, trust in the banks was waning already, but this is just one of those instances where, as you pointed out in the introduction, there's just going to be so many more questions about this. And I like the juxtaposition you did between somebody who may have missed a payment on their mortgage, someone who may have had some tax issues. You see banks close in very quickly on individuals, and we're not necessarily seeing that happen for some of these larger subnational actors or people who are really moving a lot of money and doing shady things.
It's amazing, like they will rain down heaven and earth upon you with, overdraft fees. A lot of times making it harder to then pay the bill in the first place, because some of these banks will draft, it's $20, $30 an overdraft. It's crazy. But yet when it comes to, reporting and then stopping the laundering of like drug money or, that kind of thing, well, well, maybe.
Well, it helps to keep those enterprises going as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You've got Deutsche Bank, other banks. Like, I mean, that $2 trillion. That pretty much props a bank up. You know, I want to let you know too. This is major. These files they have uncovered represent less than 0.02% of the more than 12 million suspicious activity reports that financial institutions filed with the FinCEN between 2011 and 2017. 0.02%. That means this $2 trillion might be the smallest number that they're playing with when it comes to potentially illegal activity and illegal money flowing in and out of these systems.
So my question is, you know, if that's such a small percentage, what does the rest of it look like? But also, why does it take so long? We're talking about a span of, I think you originally gave like 5 years that they have been tracking this specifically. But as with all things criminality, that's not somebody's first go round. So I question how long and how, you know, embedded they were before they actually got caught up.
That's a great question to ask. And just so people know, these SARS reports, these suspicious activity reports, they don't necessarily mean that the transactions are illegal or that they're guilty, but they give kind of a paper trail and they allow people to kind of point in the right direction. Hey, this transaction doesn't really make sense. These numbers are too round. You know, these two businesses shouldn't be making these transactions. It's just to kind of give the Treasury, you know, a place to look. What's interesting is when contacted by journalists investigating the SARS files, the U.S. Treasury Department released a statement saying that, quote, the unauthorized disclosure of SARS is a crime that can impact the national security of the United States, compromise law enforcement investigations, and threaten the safety and security of the institutions and individuals who file such reports. Amisha, I challenge the Treasury saying, wouldn't the laundering of illegal money in banks at the actual crime that these are uncovering, isn't that a greater threat to the security of the United States? Man alive.